Hi, this is Miss Sayan and today I will teach you on how to create or make a realistic hair in Ibis Paint X. So, I have some key points in this tutorial, mainly the base of the hair, second is the shadows, third is the highlights, and of course the last one, the strands. So, in this tutorial I will recommend you to use this kind of brushes. The first one is the dip pen, the second one is the felt tip pen, the third one is the pen fade, and you can also use the hair brush. This you can use also hair light, hair dark, and round brushes. This range of brushes here, the round brush point, round brush normal, round brush curve, round brush angle, and round brush reel. For now I will use this brush, the pen brush. So I will make the hair more like into a copper like color. So the only thing about the dip pen is it can't maximize into a large brush. So you can also use this felt tip pen hard because it can maximize into large areas. So you can just adjust the thickness of the start and thickness of the end. But this pen is just for the base. So there are different types of hair. The first one is the straight one, and of course the curly one. So the first one we will create the straight one. So we'll use this brownish color for the hair and use this brush, dip pen hard, for the ends of the hair. I will not create a more detailed type of hair, just some portions of the hair, so that this tutorial will not be as long. So you can use the force fade. So if you're done with the base, you can add another layer, then flip it and use a darker color for the shadows. So you can use the round brush because the round brush is I think it is more similar to the realistic strands of the hair, this round brush point. You can adjust the opacity of the hair or brush or other, so that it will blend naturally like realistic hairs. So the next one is another layer and a lighter one, this color, and brush it. You can also adjust the opacity of the brush. Yan. And lastly, you can also add shimmer, or of course the highlights. You can just use the same color of the brush and adjust the opacities so that it won't look as shiny or bright. Adjusting the brush, you can use a small diameter of the brush so that it will look good, I think. And for every artwork I create, especially the realistic ones, I prefer to use small brushes for the strands because I think it looks good and it looks more natural. Blend, I'm using the 10 to 16 opacity, and just be careful on putting the strands. I think it's kinda good now, I think. And lastly, another layer. For the blending mode, just add a lighter shade, and let's go for a smaller brush for the strands, little strands, the hair. Oh, around 1.5, 0.8 to 1.5 diameter of the brush. This is optional. Sometimes I use smudge to smudge the little hairs so that it will look blended and not as sharp. Smudge it properly so that it blends. That's right. Yeah. Lastly, another highlight layer. Of course, use the blending mode add. Use lighter color and use the round brush point. I will just brush it in these areas where it curves. Let's assume that the light source of this portion of the hair is in front. So let's just put some highlights on the curve and smudge it. Smudge the ends so that it blends out. I think it's kinda bright, so I adjust the opacity and clip it. So I think we're done. So it's for the straight hair. Oh, I forgot about the ends. Let's fix the ends. Do not clip the layer. So you can just color pick and brush it out. Just color pick until you get satisfied with your work. And the next one is about the curly hair and how to make curly hairs. So let's label it straight hair. Sorry for the handwriting. I'm just using my fingers to write. So let's make a curly hair. So the characteristic of a curly hair is that it has more highlights and shadows compared to the straight hair. It has more dimensions. So I will just make it curvier. Like this. And let's fix this. I'll make the curves more thicker. Sorry. I'll make the curves thicker. I think that's fine, just to, for tutorial purposes only. So let's just color pick this. I won't use any other colors for you. So brush it well, just brush it all over the curve or the curl. As you can see, the curl hair has shadows in these areas. Wait, just add another layer. These areas where it curves these areas, these areas, and these areas. So just put the shadows in that areas and it will look good. So let's delete it and clip. Just be careful in putting the shadows so that you will get satisfied with your work and with your hair. Just be patient because curl hairs are more detailed than straight hairs. So I think it's right, it's good. Let's just merge it. And another layer, don't clip it and just color pick this so that the sharp lines will be gone. These sharp lines. Because we're into realistic hair, we don't like it to be sharp on the edges. Just be patient until you get a satisfying result. It's fine. So let's proceed with the highlights. Let's just merge it and make or add another layer and put the blending mode to add. Just use the current color and adjust the opacity and brush it along the curl. As you can see, I brush it in just one area, but I don't really do it properly because in some cases or most cases the hair is not that properly concentrated on one area, especially when it's curly. Next one is add another layer and put the blending mode to add and use a lighter color, a brighter color, and brush it. This time I'm just brushing it where along the sides of the curves. Let's just assume that the lighting source or the light source is on the front. So it is usually being highlighted on these areas if the light source is on the front. And let's just smudge the ends. Just be careful when doing smudge because just like before or a while ago, the strands were warped and we don't like that kind of strands. Just brush it lightly and the opacity is between 40 to 45%. Just brush it. For now, let's just fix the shadows of the curly hair. And I'm not clipping it. Oh, I just noticed it that I really clipped I made a mistake a while ago. So sorry, and let's just fix it. I hope you can get some ideas while watching my tutorial. I think the hair is a little bright, so let's just dim it a little. Dim the sides a little bit until you get satisfied and it won't get as hard and as sharp. And lastly, let's just put or add another layer and add for the blending mode. Let's just fix these highlights in a 30 to 40 opacity percent of the opacity. And add another layer for the last highlight and make it a little lighter compared to the one that we used a while ago, and put it here or brush it here. And smudge it to the ends so that it will look smooth and soft. Lastly, for the strands, let's just add another layer and put the blending mode to add. And let's just use the dip pen hard and use a 1 size, or I think it's diameters. Just correct me if I'm wrong. As you can see, it can create a thinner brush, head of brush, which is suitable for strands, especially the thin ones or the thin strands of the hair. So that's it for today's tutorial. If you like this video, please subscribe and like. Thank you so much, and until next tutorial.